So that's the first question or prompt that you want to be thinking about. Now, the second one is more of a question. So think about this, you guys. When you take long tests, like the ones that you have in school, right? Like, how do you usually feel? Do you find it hard to stay focused, or do you get tired easily? So what about your stress and anxiety levels, right? So when we think about long tests in schools, you can think about, like, I would think more like sometimes final exams. Now, depending on the school that you go to, I don't know your school, but I remember when I was in high school, some of my final exams would be like 2 hours long, right? And some, like, I enjoyed it, right? I enjoyed it. Well, I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I was able to concentrate. I was able to build up that mental endurance because I was used to studying, right, for 4 or 5 hours, right, at a time. Was it the most efficient and the healthiest strategy? Probably not. You want to take breaks, right? Maybe every 30 minutes or an hour. But it's also important to be able to build mental stamina or endurance. Now, there's a certain group of kids, though, every time they feel like a twinge of stress, they'll want to run away, right? So they'll stop, they'll do something, they'll hop on Facebook, they'll look at a YouTube video, hopefully it's mine. They'll do something, right, to want to run away from that feeling of stress, right? If that's you, you got to really think about this, right? Because the reason why I'm telling you, like, how do you deal with long exams? Can you stay focused and can you concentrate for long periods of time, right? Do you tend to, like, get a little tired or sleepier? Some of you falling asleep when you're watching this video, What about your stress and anxiety? Are you able to control your emotions? Does this time pressure not bother you? When you look at the clock and you have 10 minutes left and you have 13 questions to answer, how do you feel? Do you start to freak out and panic and you can't control it? Like, your mind's racing in 10,000 different directions and you can't bring it back? Because that's not all students, not all people. There's certain students who look at it, they start to get stressed, but they can control it, right? They can bring back their focus to what's right in front of them and then get back to work. So you got to really understand or know yourself in these senses, right? Now, why is this question, I think, really helpful? It's extremely helpful because there's a sort of big difference in the SAT and the ACT when it comes to the time, right? So the SAT is about 3 hours long. So you can think of the SAT as being about 1 hour longer than the ACT. So the ACT is, you can think about it like 2 hours and 15 minutes or so if you don't consider the essay. The essay is optional. And then the SAT is about a 3 hour long test, right? So it's about an hour difference, yeah? And you mix in sort of breaks here and there. You're looking at about an hour difference in terms of the length of these tests, right? So you can understand how the ability to stay focused for longer periods of time, right? Your ability to kind of deal with stress and anxiety levels, right, in pressure situations can be important, right? The other thing that can be helpful here too is like you have less time, maybe about 20 or 30 seconds less time on average to answer an ACT math question, right? Then you do like an SAT math question. 30 seconds for a question, right? And so you got to really think about, right? Well, do you tend to get kind of stressed out and can you not control your emotions and your focus, right, when you have time pressure? If that's the case, well, maybe then the SAT is the better test for you, right? You're starting to kind of see this, right? Now, this is just the basic stuff, you guys. So don't go, you don't have to like spend hours or days on this stuff, but just set aside about like 15 or 20 minutes. I like to set aside 20 minutes and then after the 20-minute point, I tend to kind of go a little bit longer, not because I have to, but because I want to. And the reason why I want to go a little bit longer is usually around that 20-minute mark of thinking. 20 minutes or so of like thinking or reflecting is usually you're getting rid of like the surface level stuff. And then once you cross that 20-minute barrier, that's when you can start to enter the deep stuff, right? But most people, right, I would say like 99% of people in this world, they're just surface level stuff, right? They don't go deep, when it comes to awareness about themselves, or understanding about something, is all. So set it for 20 minutes, reflect on it, write it down, and interesting thing can happen is after the 20-minute mark, right? A lot of you guys are going to start to have like deeper thoughts that you've never thought about before. They just kind of pop up, and that's kind of cool, right? That's a cool way that your mind works. And I can kind of get into that, but not in this video. If you want to know more, just let me know. But that'll be the sort of second question that you want to think about, though.